one, I'm calling the meeting to order. You guys over there want to hold it down? All right. First off, we're here to the betterment of our neighborhoods and protection of our neighborhoods. First thing I want you to do is turn your cell phones off. And I'm going to assign Carl to remind me to turn my phone back on. There we go. The first thing we need to do is that since we have our secretary is in France enjoying himself, we need a secretary, and I have asked our kind lady from Coles Court to be our secretary today. So actually, unless there's an argument about it, she will be our secretary. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay, to start off, I need to say something about last month. Speaking on behalf of the entire board of CCNA, I would like to apologize to Rob Grant for the failure to maintain civility at our table last month. For those of you who were not here, or those who simply did not see what happened, I will give you a brief summary. Mr. Grant, who is a neighborhood delegate that sits at our table, was speaking during his designated 2 minutes during neighborhood input. He was interrupted and challenged by a member of the audience who is not a neighborhood person. It is my duty to maintain order in these meetings, and I did not do so. For that, I'm sorry, Mr. Grant. Thank you.
My apologies.
Thank you. That said, I would like to remind us, take a moment to go over how a situation like this should be handled. First, only delegates, speaking to you guys, delegates only are the people who are, use your glasses, Richard, elected by their neighborhood, may sit at the table and engage in conversation. Second, we welcome guests and are thrilled to have city leaders here. And members of the public at our meetings. However, guests are not supposed to speak unless invited to do so. If someone speaks out of turn and I fail to notice it or do not take appropriate actions, I ask you to please call it to my attention by saying, point of order. You do not need recognition for this. You just say it like that. And we will respond. We also ask, talking to you guys out there, we also ask that even among delegates, we please curtail the chatter during meetings. While there may be whispering comments here or there should not be sustained conversations. We got to listen to each other. That means mouth shut. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. If this occurs again, remember, without recognition, you may say, point of order. And I will ask, what? And then we will take care of it. Thank you for all your time to come to the meetings, listen to this reminder. We appreciate all of you. Even you guys out there, we appreciate you. Even the unelected ones. There he is over there. And we appreciate your time. Thank you. So, moving on, it's time for an introduction of our special guests.
Thank you, Richard. Is Mark, I'm having trouble. Is Mark Smith here? I don't see him.
He's probably underwater.
Okay, Mayor?
Wait. Oh, here he is. He's walking right in.
Great time.
Just tell me that. I'll tell you that.
Okay, let's give Mark a hand. Let's sitting. There you are, thank you. Mayor, Vice Mayor Jen? I don't.
She's not here today.
She's not here today at all? Okay, is Commissioner Debbie Price sitting here someplace? No. No, City Manager Marlon Brown. Deputy City Manager Kent Robinson. And Nancy Kelly, is she
Not
back
today.
here?
No, she's not here today.
Not here today? And let's see, we have, Officer Matt. There you go. And I believe I hit them all for today. Oh,
I'm ADA coordinator.
geez, the what?
I'm ADA coordinator, Jacob Brown.
You're the.
I'm ADA coordinator, Jacob Brown.
Thank you. Program.
All right, before we move on to, this young man, is there anybody new at the table? Thank you, from Bird Key. Yell your name, please.
John Dieter.
And, okay, thank you, Bird Key. Thank you for coming. Okay, Matt, you ready? Hold it close to your mouth. You got the pointer.
Got it right there. Don't steal it. I promise. Good morning, thanks for having me. Anybody new here? My name is Officer Matthew Kachowski. I'm with the Sarasota Police Department. I'm part of our Community Relations Unit, also Crime Prevention. Closer. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, turn it up a little bit.
So yes, and then my information is on their website, so if you have any questions or you need an answer on something, please feel free to call me or email me. All right, to start us off, we got some stats for the month of September. So for the month of September, everybody hear me still good? Okay. We had 2 murders, 15 aggravated assaults, 2 robberies, 4 sex crimes, 8 burglaries, 7 larcenies from vehicles, and 9 motor vehicle thefts. So now we do a comparison for the people that are new, year to date, from the year 2023 to 24. So in 23 we had 0 murders. Right now we're up to 6. So as you'll see, everything else coming up, we're going to be down. Which is a great thing. So for aggravated assaults in 23 we had 174. Now we're down to 157. Robberies in 23 we're at 58. And then now in 24 year to date is 36. Sex crimes, we're at 23 and 23. And then in 24 we're at 19, so down. Burglary, we were at 123, now we're at 112. This is, this one is like, I'm really happy to see. This is larceny from vehicles. So in 23, we're at 208 at this time of year, and then we're only at 109. So great job, locking the cars and everything. And then motor vehicle thefts are down 113 to 87. So now I have some traffic stats for you. So they had 187 citations and 77 warnings for speeding. For traffic crashes, there were 191 crashes. 5 of those were included with a pedestrian or a bicyclist. And then there were 0 fatalities for crashes in September. So this, due to it being Halloween, I thought it'd be important to talk about some vehicle theft safety tips. So according to the Department of Transportation, over half of the vehicle thefts are due to driver error, i.e. leaving your keys in your vehicle, or leaving doors unlocked. And if the vehicle is not taken, a lot of items that are taken are firearms, purses, phones, etc. So please lock your cars and leave those. A few of the steps that you can take to protect yourself is never leave your keys inside the car once parked. Park only in well-lit areas. Lock your doors and close windows, and never leave valuables inside your car, especially out in the visible, so people can see them. And then here are some upcoming events. I know we have a lot going on this month, so if you can make it any of these, it'd be great to see you there. So we got the chili cook-off this Sunday. We got a coffee with a cup of Whole Foods, White Cane Day, Painting with a Fleece at Robert Taylor, the Collard Green Festival, the Semi-Young Taste of New Orleans at Subway Gardens, and then Trunk or Treat. And then, of course, you can always connect with us for any information you need to know what's going on with the police department. And then we have the emergency line and our 911 line there. Thank you. Any questions?
Where's the chili cook-off?
That is old right in front of Morton's.
Osprey and Hillview, for those of you that don't know where that is.
Yeah. Osprey and Hillview. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
The question for the camera was, where is it? Okay, good. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Matt. What, okay, yeah.
I'd like to know, about the patrol that's in Newtown, specifically, with the drug dealers on 23rd Street and Oxford, and, 23rd and Oxford, and then we have more and more, drug gatherings, I guess, throughout housing. And when you call officers about, these things, they act as if it's nothing that they can do. And so, and I do understand that sometimes there are, situations when you wanna do a bus that it takes months, because you have to have those buys and all that stuff. But, some of these things been going on for years. And I don't believe the safety of the residents should depend on if the community is upset. We don't continue to build to house, drug activities on our streets. Can you speak to that at all?
Can I speak to that?
And please tell us the
Is
truth.
this thing working? All right, so that was one question and part soliloquy, so I'll answer it with one answer and part soliloquy. Obviously, and Valerie, you laid it out very well, we have legal obligation that we can't, that one is better. Oh, man, I like how that sounds. I'm in stereo. First off, I'd like to thank Matt for coming out on a Saturday and going over those stats. I do also want to say, while I was sitting over there taking notes, it dawned on me that as he's talking about homicides, it really sounds like he's talking about bacon. Like, hey, add 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons. Anyways, back to Valerie's question. Obviously, she spoke about some of the legal constraints that we have. We always have ongoing operations with our Special Investigation Bureau to stop street-level drug dealing in the higher end long-term investigations. Obviously, we have, I think it's 11 detectives at this point that are an SID, and they're always working to get the next level up from those bad guys. But I can tell you, we haven't stopped the enforcement. We are still making narcotic arrests. We can talk afterwards about 23rd and Osprey. We are working on that area. There's a couple, as you know, there's some houses in there with bad actors, and we're working on getting them under control. But anything that you see like that, and you know, it does take time sometimes. If the officers don't see something going on, it gets fed up the chain of command to the Special Investigation Bureau so they can take action. As far as the public housing thing, let's chat, because I'm not aware of any issues in public housing at this point. But happy to pass that along to our detective division and get that handled. So thank you, Valerie, appreciate it. And any other questions reference of the homicide, because I gave a little update on the homicides the last time. We talked about the one that happened on Lido with the 2 gentlemen that got in a fight and stabbed each other at the same time the last time. This last homicide that bumped our number up, unfortunately, there was a gentleman who was driving around looking to pick up a prostitute on MLK. He drove up into the eastern lot of the meat market at Osprey and MLK. He got in an argument with a gentleman who took his girlfriend or wife home, dropped the girlfriend off, came back, got in another argument with the same gentleman who was highly intoxicated in that parking lot. And the gentleman was shot and killed inside the vehicle. I think there were 5 rounds that were recovered inside that car. The gentleman who shot the guy who passed away had been incarcerated for murder and served 17 years in Department of Corrections and was released in 2021, I believe. So I don't know if he wanted to go back, but you know, it's one of those things. Again, I just want to make sure that when we have those type of things, you have the facts surrounding those homicides. Again, none of them are tied to anything. They're not tied to drug deals. They're not tied to gangs. Literally, in every one of those ones we went over, they're individual people doing bad things. So we do our best to get out ahead of those things and make sure they don't happen. But you know, unfortunately, you can't stop crime. That was what was that one movie, Minority Report, the Red Ball. Yeah, we're not there yet. We're working on it. So if you have questions, please let me know. And again, thank you to Matt and CCNA for letting us present. And Valerie, thank you for the question. And we'll talk after. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay. Oh, wait. Stay here, bud.
I need that one.
Oh, what's that?
I need.
Wait, give us an update on the storm.
Any storm? Unfortunately, there's lots of them. If you guys didn't look at the weather this morning, unfortunately, I was hoping that this morning when I got up and had a cup of coffee, I opened Mike's weather page. It's called spaghettimodels.com, my favorite website. Unfortunately, during these times, that's fantastic. And I was hoping to see that nice yellow blob turn into nothing. This morning, unfortunately, it looks like it's coalescing. This tropical depression that came off of the gift of the Pacific went over Mexico and is now in the Gulf, and it is expected to hit us anywhere between a tropical depression and a Category 2 storm sometime on early morning Wednesday is the forecast. So everything about the storm that we're dealing with that I'll talk about here, we're going to do again later this week. So let your neighborhoods know, get ready, clean up, put your debris out, make sure we're doing our best to get out there and pick everything up as it currently stands. So the storm, and I apologize, I left my notes over there, but I'll just give sort of a high level on what we saw with Helene. I apologize, I was up till 1 o'clock on the phone with the Merchants Association last night at St. Armand, so I'm dragging a little bit this morning. So we saw something that I haven't seen in about 25 years of service to the city. You know, we've had probably 40 hurricanes since I started working here, and I've never seen the storm surge like it hit Lido Key. Anywhere between 4 and 6 feet, pardon me, 4 and 6 inches would have been a blessing. 4 and 6 feet is what we saw on the barrier islands. For those of you that have not been out there, there's so much social media online, photos and videos.
And please don't go.
Yeah, if you don't have to go out there, we don't need disaster tourism or, as some of the staff, looky-loos going out there, getting in Carl and Jim's area of operation. You know, we're still taking sand off of the roadways. If you haven't seen the social media on the beach, it's back to re-nourishment levels. It's really very sad. If you look at it, it's back down to the groins. The good thing is, we are working with the state and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to try to get bumped up in the timing of re-nourishment. And we have the dredging project in summer of 25 that we're trying to push forward a little bit more. And all of that sand will end up going back onto Lido to re-nourish. But it's pretty sad. And so we're asking people not to go out there until we do a full safety assessment, because we do have some of those rocky groins that are open, the sand catchers that are out there, so it's a dicey situation. Plus, most of the parking lot on Lido is taken up by sand. And my days might be a little bit off, so I apologize if I'm off a little bit. But the storm was coming in. We started activating all of our personnel, staging, police officers, public works folks, utilities personnel in and around their working area, offices, so that when the storm went through and passed, that they would be first on the scene. So as soon as the winds died and passed, we had crews out already. And I will say, you know, there's a lot of damage on St. Armand's, but I can tell you that you know, a lot of discussion about the pumps out there. Once the sea level rises over the seawall, the pumps are not effective, because you're literally pumping water out into the bay, and it goes right back into the circle. So for those of you that don't know, this St. Armand Circle is like a bowl. The only way it's actually not underwater every day is there are pumps that were installed by the county probably 15 years ago that pump water continuously off of that island, especially during rain events. When it goes over it, it ends up damaging some of those pumps and or the generators. So I can say I saw it firsthand that the stormwater crews from the county, as well as our utility crews, were out the day after the storm in about knee-deep water, setting up those pumps to get them working. And I was out there for about an hour and a half, and during that time period, I saw the water go down about 1.5 feet. So, you know, there's a lot of the county takes a lot of grief on those pumps. but those guys were out there working. Immediately after the storm, we activated all of our personnel. We had actually turned off water to the barrier islands, water and sewer service, because during Hurricane Debbie, when we had all the water that we were pumping back into the plant, we had the 44 million gallons, and we had the spill. We made the determination, because salt water is much more damaging to the utility than fresh water. So if fresh water goes in, it doesn't throw off the chemistry and all the chemical reactions that take place in the utility to break down all that waste. Salt water will actually destroy those chemical reactions. So we shut water and sewer down to the barrier islands, one, to protect the utility, because if it's inundated with water and it's depressurized, you can have significant problems with the infrastructure with the utility. Secondarily, we knew that they were going to be inundated, so if that happened, we would have been pumping millions of gallons of salt water into your drinking water and to the sewage system, which would damage the utility for weeks after the storm had passed. So when we turned it off, we fully intended to bring it back up as soon as we could. And I will tell you, and I'm going to take a little point of professional privilege here, sorry, Commissioner, but
He's gonna have his turn, so.
okay, good, fantastic. You take all the shots at me next. But we had our water to our barrier islands up before any other municipal or county government in this area. We are actually now providing all of the water to Longboat Key through our utility. And that was primarily due to the pre-planning of our utility director and our public works folks. So we put it down for about 2 days and stood it up within about, what do you think? I think it was about 2.5 hours from the time that they flipped the switch to the time that the barrier islands had water. We staged that. Siesta Key and Bird Key got water back first, so you're welcome. Lou, and it wasn't because you sent me an email either, I just want you to know that. You don't have that much power. And then we phased back on St. Armand Circle and Lido Key. So we got it up and running very quickly, and that's a testament to no dig at the county. They literally are issues times 100. You know, they're dealing with the entire county water system. So I'm not going to let him speak. He can come up later. This is the city coalition. If he wants to talk, he go to Kona and talk. All right, this is ours. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I'm castigated. The issues we really staffed up on the police department to ensure that people weren't taking advantage of a really bad situation. So we had about 8 additional officers and a supervisor out there through the time until we could get the actual street lights and electricity up and running, which was about a day and a half after the storm went by. We were about 75%, wouldn't you say? And then about 92 days out, 90% restored about 2 days out. FP&L doesn't work for us, but they are our partner, and we do have a really good line of communication. And I will say Devaney Iglesias, who is our point of contact, was on the phone with me pretty much every day giving me an update. For those of you that don't know, we entered into an agreement and housed a bunch of their linemen at the Robert Taylor Community Complex so that they were here in our community so they could respond here locally as opposed to coming from somewhere else or the fairgrounds. They were literally at Robert Taylor, so which was a fantastic asset. Right now we're having the issue with solid waste pickup. So if you think about it, a single family home, about every week you drop off 1 to 2 bags of trash. Right now, I literally have hundreds. I think we had 450 to 500 homes that were significantly flooded, and that means a foot or more of water. 100 to 150 commercial properties, including businesses. So we went from picking up basically 2 bags of trash at every house to literally the whole house. I mean, if you go out on the barrier islands, again, when it calms down and look at some of the stuff, they can testify to it. That's exactly right. So we're taking whole homes out right now. So the process there, and people are frustrated a little bit with the timing of it. When we know a storm is coming, we have a list of contractors because it overwhelms our ability to pick up trash. We're set up to pick up residential trash. We're not set up to pick up construction debris. That's not what we do on a general basis. We activate a list of contractors to our main disaster contractor, who's called Tetra Tech. They then bring in assets, and we have to certify those vehicles. That process started the day after the storm. So 2 days after the storm went by, we were starting to get those trucks on scene. You have to certify them by height, weight, volume, volume of truck, and then they get a monitor and they start going out. Now we also have to have somewhere to put that trash. And I'll tell you guys this, it was an interesting conversation Marlon and I were having with our solid works director. So, you know, everyone's trying to come up with solutions, think outside the box, and you have to take that somewhere, because if we have 4 contractors that are working to take those things out and they have to drive all the way to the dump, anybody driven to the dump here?
Yeah.
You should, it's interesting. But it's a lot of bald eagles. But it takes about 45 minutes to get there one way. So if we have 4 contractors, they might get 2 houses picked up during that time period. So we work with a third-party location service to lease or rent a spot to put this stuff so we can make more trips. So luckily, we were able to identify a contractor that's allowing us to use their facility on Palmer near Cattleman. So that's the longest trip they have to make. But there were some interesting choices where we were thinking about different places, and one of them came up was what's a place between Longboat Key and Lido that has a lot of open space? Ken Thompson. That was one of the ideas initially thrown out, and everybody in the room went, "Oh my God, what are you thinking? No, you can't put it there. No." So you'll be happy to know that staff killed that idea very early on in the conversation. So Ken Thompson, no matter what you hear, is not going to be a garbage dump anytime soon. So right now we're sort of in the disaster cleanup realm, and so we are working with our contractors. There are 5 that are currently going out and doing hauls from the residential areas, and as of this morning, our contractors are going to be scheduling a pickup on the circle for that special impact zone around St. Armand Circle, because obviously, just like the residents, these businesses, these people pour their heart and soul into these things, and we understand that, you know, it overwhelms the capacity for everyone to deal with. So generally speaking, we do not get reimbursed by the federal government for those hauls. It comes out of pocket, and they're non-reimbursable costs. Usually for residential services, it's reimbursed by FEMA. So we get some of that money back, but through the commission's guidance and Mr. Brown, the determination was made to dig deep, find the money, and make it happen. So we're gonna work on getting at least 1, if not 2 passes around that special impact zone in St. Armand's in the next couple of days to start taking that pressure off of those folks as well. So like I said, like Richard said, if you don't have to go out there yet, don't go out there. There's really nothing open. I think the only thing that was open out there when I drove out was the daiquiri deck. So, right, shore's open now, so yeah, you can go, don't go. Well, Tom Leonard would be upset that I said don't go, but if you don't have to go, don't head out there. But I can tell you that there are plans. We planned for these things in the event. This was not our first storm. The staff was fantastic. You know, you might not see it, but like I said, getting that water and sewer back up is a monumental lift. Anything can happen bad. I think the county is still working on getting Siesta Key up and running. They had over 40 pumps go down on the island because of that salt water. So all of those engineers, all those electricians were out there the day after the storm in the water, getting all those things rewired. And it's not a simple thing like switching on a faucet on or off. It's a huge system. From public safety standpoint, we literally have had no looting, no violent crime on the island. The police department has done a fantastic job. From the public works side, I believe as of last night, when I got off the phone with Rachel Burns, all of our street lights were on St. Armand Circle, which is a miracle because we're having issues downtown with our circuits. Salt water and electricity generally doesn't mix. I don't know if you guys know that. But it burns all this stuff out, and then when they repower it, it fries all those circuits. So we're working on getting those up and running, but the island is fully lit at this point. I don't know if you can attest to that. I try to stay off of the island myself, so it's a bad situation, and obviously we're prepping for this next storm. We have utility trucks out there cleaning the storm grates, pumping those lines out. Because we're probably going to get anywhere between 6 and 10 inches of rain this coming weekend, or I'm sorry, this is the weekend, this week. So make plans now. If you don't have to, if there's a road that is underwater, don't drive through it. It was better this storm than the last one. Debbie, I think we took over 100 vehicles out of flooded roadways. I think we had 6 this time. So, and if you have an electric vehicle and you think it is going to be flooded in your home, move it outside of your home. Every single fire that we have responded to has been due to lithium batteries. And that's not just Tesla or electric vehicles, that's electric scooters. Luckily, we haven't had any issues with the Vios, apparently. I talked to the vendor last week, none of them have been compromised. But what we're finding now is even the hand tools that you buy, like the ones Black & Decker or the blowers that you buy at Lowe's, those are all lithium batteries, those 40 and 80 volt batteries. they're actually lighting on fire. That's Longboat Key. I talked to Chief Desi late last week, and they had 3 fires specifically from those handheld power tools. So be mindful of that. If it was underwater, get it out of your house, because there were 2 homes that burned completely to the ground on North Siesta, specifically related to, one was a Tesla that burst into flames, and the other one was an electric scooter.
Is it salt water that's doing it?
Yes, ma'am. The salt mixed with the lithium, as the water actually recedes, if there's enough oxygen, there's a chemical reaction, and if you Google or search on the internet, lithium battery fire, it literally looks like a jet engine. I mean, it is very scary. So I know Pinellas County had a security video of a Tesla lighting on fire in a garage that happened in their jurisdiction. Look it up. You'll put it outside. Trust me. To that point, a lot of discussion about parking. I talked to our parking manager this morning. On the island, we have not had one parking enforcement officer on the barrier islands since the storm went through, and we have stopped all paid parking enforcement until the declaration of emergency subsides. It has been extended through I believe it's the 18th or 17th, end of business on the 17th, which we'll reassess at that point. Once these contractors have the ability to get in and out, there's no parking enforcement whatsoever going on that key. Broxton Harvey told me the best thing I heard this morning. I said, listen, man, I'm getting all these pictures of our parking people out on the island. He goes, Pat, that's fake news. I was like, oh, all right, well, do tell. He said, we have not had one parking enforcement officer over that bridge since that storm happened. So if you're seeing that out there, that is not happening. And if it does happen, call me, because I want to know. We also...
That is not an invitation to go to the island.
Yes, please don't go check. Don't go check. But if you hear about it, let me know, because I'll follow up with Broxton. Also, the St. Armors parking garage is open, and the swing arms are open. You can go on there. We were trying a program to see if overnight storage, but we're gonna stop that and just let people out there for the foreseeable future until that declaration of emergency is over. I'm guessing through the end of the month. I think we're hitting a point in this disaster recovery, and God willing, we won't get hit with this next thing in a bad way. But we're sort of cresting, we're at the top of the peak, and once we hit that one section where people get some of the yard waste and the home waste out of their yards, I think the temperature will come down significantly, and some of these businesses can get opened out there. But I think the commission and Mr. Brown, myself, felt compelled, because we don't want to add to the problems that are out there. So there will be no parking enforcement until that determination is made down the road in a couple weeks. And like I said, it could be extended further from that if we have this storm come in and impact us again. The parking garage is open. They are not taking money on entry. The swing arms are up. So you can go on and go off. I would just say, try not to leave them there all the time, because at some point we're gonna have to stop that program, and we'll let everybody know that they need to get their cars out probably a week ahead of time, so that they can remove their cars before we have to remove them to get back to normal business. But there's no batteries in any of the pay stations out there, so you couldn't pay even if you wanted to pay. So that's not happening, but the stuff that's online is pretty aggressive at this point. Anything else you'd like me to touch on, or questions? Hugh, go ahead.
Debris, fellow who was tearing my house apart put some in black bags, but then I read that you're not gonna collect black bags?
Plastic bags.
Wait a second. Vito, St. Armand Circle, Hugh, asked a question about plastic bags, and I assume you're talking about vegetative.
Yes.
Here, let me. I'll run through it.
Saturated,
Sure.
everything.
If it's trash, we're not concerned about black bags. If it's vegetative debris, it cannot be in a black plastic bag. So it's got to be
Explain what that is exactly.
plants,
Oh.
branches, anything that's yard waste.
No.
Right. Regular trash, it can be in.
Construction debris that we've taken out.
You know what? I'll get an answer.
And all that
I don't think it would matter, but let me double check.
Baseboards and door jams, and we've taken a lot of
Sure.
stuff. The house is-
Yes, it should be separated from normal food waste.
Oh, yeah, no.
But I think let me double check. Before, when I sit down, Hugh, I'll text Doug. I want to make sure about the plastic bag. I don't think it matters if it's construction debris. It just can't be plant. It can't be yard waste. So, but I'll make sure 100% when I sit down. Yes, sir.
What is the site that you were referring to that you watched the weather?
Oh, it's called if you search it, it's Mike's weather page, and it's a non-governmental website. Let me put that out there. So always go back to the National Hurricane Center and NOAA for your determination. But he compiles all of those, And it literally is out right when it comes out. I think this is all the guy does, but it's called spaghettymodels.com. It's called Mike's weather page, but the actual URL is spaghettymodels.com. Yes, ma'am.
And he runs it totally on donations.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all done on donations, so. Any other questions, guys? Yes, ma'am. Hudson Bayou.
The yard waste, does it have to be tied and bundled?
We are not gonna require that. The county is requiring that you bundle it like it would be a normal pickup. We're gonna have our contractors do bulk pickup.
Okay.
Richard.
Yeah,
Okay,
I had to work on it in March.
But it has to be,
Maybe they would not pick it up if it was a pile.
we're not talking about Debbie. Let's talk about today.
This one we can pile.
Yes, correct. But it has to be separated. So if there was one thing you take out of this conversation, you have to have your normal trash separated from construction debris. Construction debris has to be separated from yard waste. If it's all commingled, they're gonna drive right by it.
And the white.
Well, white goods are like stuff that the
Yeah.
pickers will take.
That's separate.
Correct.
That's
So
separate.
if you have a question, go on our website. It's all on
Yeah.
there. Hold on, no, Ron, you're not,
No,
Just tell them what white goods are.
they're not black goods. So white goods are small electronics, metals, things that people that, you know, we have a lot of scrappers that go around and pick up stuff.
your refrigerator.
Refrigerators, yes. And if you need any of that information, it is also on our website, but it's basically small appliances, metals, things that somebody would come by and pick up and take to metal recycling. Hold on, we'll come to you next. Gillespie Park.
One quick question, the big piles of debris that are sitting out on the road, I know X number of storms ago, they came out with a claw.
Right.
Are they gonna do that again, do you know, or you don't know yet?
No, we're gonna issue everyone a plastic fork and you're gonna have to pick those up. I got it, Richard, I got it. So the question was, there's big piles out on, I got like 3 guys, it's like the Muppets up here. The big piles of storm debris that are out at the curb, will we have trucks that will come around? Yes, those are the contractors that I was talking about. We only have, I think we have 4 in the whole city, but we are bringing those outside contractors in that have the claws that swing out, grab it, and put it in the truck.
Because the last.
Well, you said one question.
Oh, well, this is part of that.
Yes, all right.
The claw kind of like ripped up the ground beneath it
Mhm.
and left a big gap.
We'll deal with that after the storm.
Okay.
Right, one thing at a time, right? But if you have those issues, shoot them to us and we'll take a look at it, okay? But it should be at the right of way nearest to the curb.
Yes.
Okay, got it, yeah, let's get it off the ground. Yes, ma'am, Central
And
Coconut.
just briefly explain why it's gotta be sorted into 4 separate piles.
Sure. So we get reimbursed for the storm debris, we don't get reimbursed for your normal trash. That's one of the reasons why we want it separated. The other reason is they go to different areas in the landfill. So the vegetative debris is like opened up and is allowed to decompose. The regular trash goes in the regular landfill, and then the construction debris goes to a different area, and that's why it has to be sorted different ways. Thank you. But I'll be here all day, so try the steak, tip your waiter and waitress. I'll be back up for the neighborhood stuff, and if you have any other questions, I'll stick around and we can talk storm all day long. That's literally pretty much the only thing I've talked about for the last week. Number one, I wanna thank everybody for their patience. I know it's hard, specifically our barrier islands. It's, like I said, I've worked here for 25 years. I'm coming up on my 24th anniversary with the city. I've never seen that level of flooding in my career, and in talking to other people that have been here even longer, we just haven't dealt with that. For whatever reason, this is the reality, and I don't wanna talk about what happened in Debbie, but we have plans. We're putting plans in place now for the next tropical depression. I think it's Invest 92, they're calling it. But we are getting prepared for another storm event, so do your part now. Don't get panicky and wait till Tuesday to go try to get water and food. Do it now when we have a little bit of calm going on. And if you're in a evacuation area, please get out of the house. Carl, we had over 100 calls to the emergency operations center for people that waited and they couldn't get out of their home. So once those waters reach a specific height, we can't get to you. Like, we can send a high water vehicle in, but if the winds are over 40 miles an hour, we keep people off the road. So there's nothing worse than hearing, a 90-year-old woman who's stuck in their home with no oxygen and the waters are rising up to her waist. So plan ahead. If you have friends or neighbors that need to get out, have a plan for them and get them out. We have a medical evacuation list that we go around and door to door, the police officers check in the city. We get it from the county. people still stay. And I think part of that is, they call it storm fatigue, right? We all tell you, oh man, you gotta get out, it's gonna be the worst. And then, you have a storm, you're like, man, we lost our internet for 2 days. Like I said, I hate to say that this is gonna be the norm, but I'm worried that this is gonna be the norm with that storm surge. And what the original projection was 7 to 9 feet. We ended up getting 4 to 6 feet. I can't even imagine what it would look like at 9 feet. So take those warnings seriously. If you're in the A-level evacuation, please make arrangements with friends, family, or somewhere else to stay. And we will do our best to let you on the island or into those flooded neighborhoods as soon as it's safe. Because that water is not water you want to be wandering around in. It's mixed with everything that's out there. Street stuff, grease traps, animals, dead animals, birds, fish. It's not something you want to be driving your vehicle through. If your vehicle is, you do drive it through salt water, make sure you wash it because it'll rust out the undercarriage of your car. I feel like I'm commingling a lot of different public safety announcements into one thing. So with that, I'll close. I want to thank everybody for their patience, for their professionalism. I know that everybody's under a lot of stress during these things, including our staff. But the only way we get things done are you guys helping us get to where we need to deploy those resources. So I really appreciate it. I know staff does. And we don't get it right every time, but we do try. I assure you that. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Richard and maybe Mark. I don't know if he gets a shot at me later, but I'll turn this over and then we'll do the neighborhood report later.
Yes, sir. Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Okay. Commissioner Smith has agreed to give us a quick update.
I just want to rebuttal.
Commissioner Smith's rebuttal.
Well, it's a pleasure being here with you all. I was one of the folks that evacuated, Esther and I, on Siesta Key. We got hit real hard. I grew up in Sarasota. Family moved here in '63. I've never seen the storm surge hit Siesta or leave it over, and it's heartbreaking. Fortunately, our house, which is just a block off Siesta Beach, the water got within a foot of the house. Unfortunately, my office has got 2 feet in it, and in fact, right after I leave here, I'm finishing cleaning out the office and moving what I can into the house, just to stay operational. But I want to thank the city staff and the cooperation of all the Wombo Key. They go to the EEOC Operations Center. Every storm is different. Debbie was more of a rain event. I wasn't concerned about this storm because it was offshore. If you looked at the bands, we weren't even going to get the rain. The storm surge thing, I mean, every storm we hear, hey, it's going to be 3 to 5, I'm sorry, I don't know if it's fatigue or just whatever, but I feel like they're crying wolf. And I didn't put my stuff up at the office. Everything table height was fine. All the paper in the office is destroyed. So I've said if any attorneys are after me, good luck. I got no paper. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, it just, I evacuated. I'm sorry about Carl. I mean, it's just one of those things. But for our storm debris pickup at the county, really this was a barrier island disaster, and folks on the bay, any place where the water just came up. Again, each storm has its own characteristic. Benderson, who many of us love for different reasons, has decided to open up with Siesta Promenade property as a staging area so we can get Siesta Key cleaned up. We got about 17 trucks, they're all staging there now, and so within the next couple of weeks. I mean, Siesta Key, Esther and I went down Lido. Unbelievable. The sand, unbelievable. I mean, I don't know if anybody took a picture of the sand castle But there's like, well, it looks like there's a sandcastle outside, right at the street. I mean, it's crazy. No, yeah, I mean, see the furniture actually up against the outside door, they couldn't make it through. It's just crazy. It's just absolutely, you know, but this was the storm. This was that storm. So you just don't know. So, you know, get out of the way. You can hide from the wind and run from the water. So I just wanted to say thanks to the city. And you know, it's a team effort. It's a team effort when we're into these things. And patience. I mean, we got debris piled high, and I don't know when it's going to leave us. Hopefully within the next 3 weeks is what my understanding is from talking to Jonathan Lewis. But anyway, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update. Stay patient. Stay off the islands, although try to get to some of the restaurants. I got a text from some of my folks in the restaurant business that are open on Siesta Key. They're saying, well, the county quit saying that don't go to the islands. But you know, it is literally a bit of a life safety issue because of all the debris. You're down to one lane on some of these roads. And if an ambulance had to get through or a fire truck, you just can't do it. You know, just getting around the island, other than just being heartbreaking, is dangerous. The trolley stopped running on Siesta Key because of the you can't get through in some spots, some places. So anyway, stay safe, everybody. The next storm is a rain event, so a different group of us are going to be in trouble. So just pay attention and err on the side of caution with these things. So thanks.
Wow, Jake, we finally get to you. And I'm going to forego the introduction, just say a few words because of time. But let me, as you do that, here's the magic wand. Let me cue up your report, and you can have this microphone.
My name is Jake Brown. I'm the City of Sarasota's ADA coordinator.
The QR code? Remember the QR code? Where are you? That looks like you. That looks like there you go.
So, good morning, everybody. As I mentioned, I'm Jake Brown, the ADA coordinator with the City of Sarasota. And I just wanted to thank you for providing me with the opportunity to update you on our ADA efforts and provide some information about our disability access consultants. Just for a quick point of reference, when I mentioned the ADA, I'm referring to the Americans with Disabilities Act. I learned very early on in my college
Closer
career,
to your mouth.
Oh, I learned very early on in my college career in person. That when you're searching the ADA, you'll get the Americans with Dental Association before the Americans with Disabilities Act. So I thought I would just clear that up. Before we dive in, I just wanted to provide you with a few quick facts about the ADA. The Americans with Disabilities Act protects around 26% of people in the U.S. That's a much higher number than most people think when they are introduced to the topic, so I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. And also the purpose of the ADA is to protect and ensure Americans with disabilities are given the same dignity and treatment as people without disabilities, while also enabling people with disabilities to get involved with their local government programs and facilities. So just for some background and intent, under the ADA, there are 5 titles. As a local government, we are under Title II. Title II applies to government entities with more than 50 employees. On top of this, there is the 2010 Americans with Disabilities Act standards and more recent revisions that have necessitated a review of the city's accessibility. So our goal of hiring disability access consultants was to refresh our transition plan and our self-evaluation plan. And the purpose of the transition plan, the goal of the city's Americans with Disabilities Act self-evaluation and transition plan is to review potential physical and programmatic barriers, identify them, and work on having them removed. The 2021 to 2023 updated ADA self-evaluation and transition plan provides a current benchmark of accessibility activities by the city. And just a quick timeline of events that have occurred, bringing us up to where we are today. In November 18th, 2019, the RFP process for an Americans with Disabilities Act consultant was initiated and approved by Commission. Commission approved the contract in May 17th, 2021 with the Disability Access Consultants and approved $291,000 to come from the general fund to pay for this contract. May 27th, approval of service with Disabilities Access Consultants was signed, officially beginning our partnership. In July, we had our kickoff meeting between DAC and city staff. And from August 2021 to June 2023, DAC, Disability Access Consultants, officially began reviewing barriers in web and physical accessibility across the city. DAC also supplied an executive summary at the end of this task. So June 2023 and on, we are working on removing identified barriers and improving access to programs where possible. And I do want to just take a moment to thank the City Commission for their foresight and working with us and engaging DAC and helping us create this transition plan. So Disability Access Consultants, as mentioned before, was brought in 2021 and were hired to assist us with gathering data for a self-evaluation and transition plan for the city of Sarasota. During their time in Sarasota, DAC reviewed 56 parks and trail sites, 176 linear miles of public right-of-way, such as sidewalks and curb ramps, and 10 city-owned facilities. DAC has found that the city is in a very good position in terms of our ADA obligations. One example of this is if you ever are in our city commission chambers and you use hearing aids, we have a T-coil system in these commission chambers. This is part of our attempts to bring effective communication to all people. And a quote that I like from DAC is, as evidenced by this study and update, the city is committed to complying with Title II of the ADA, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, and other applicable laws. The city of Sarasota has demonstrated a commitment from the highest level of leadership with coordination of compliance activities and involvement of persons with disabilities and methodologies for compliance procedures. So as part of DAC's goals, we have both a transition plan and a self-evaluation. Both of these provide or identify barriers for removal, but the self-evaluation plans evaluate programs, policies, activities, and services, where the transition plan reviews physical barriers. So a few items that the DAC has referenced on the self-evaluation plan I'll be reviewing now. One of which is discussing a designated ADA and 504 coordinator. Being that I am the ADA coordinator, we have accomplished this goal. And I actually do work with each department. We have liaisons to facilitate barrier removal. So I do work and have regular meetings with the facilities team, the Parks and Recs team, utilities. We meet once a month and review where we are in our transition plan. And aside from these items, I'm also responsible for developing and training staff on ADA compliance. I have recently been performing ADA fundamentals training to city departments, and I'm also developing an accessible document procedure training to ensure that all of our website documents are accessible to people with disabilities. One item that is important that we have available is the grievance and complaint procedure. The grievance procedure is a standard procedure in which an individual may file a grievance if they have faced discrimination on the basis of disability in the provision of services, activities, programs, or benefits by the city of Sarasota. This requires the complaint to be submitted within 60 days of the events, and once the complaint is received, I have 15 days to respond, and then we'll go from there. Alternatively, we have the Human Relations Board in the city of Sarasota. This board is valuable for people who have experienced discrimination within the city, but not necessarily by the city. And it applies to employment, housing, or public accommodation for protected classes. So under the ADA, we have to, or in accordance with Title II of the ADA, the notice is required to be posted and disseminated and should include the rights afforded to persons with disabilities. We have accomplished this, and examples of these notices can be found on our online public notice board or our online job portal. Both locations have notices providing information to request accommodations. And some examples of making communication accessible, again, is that T-coil in the commission chambers, closed captioning for our non-commission boards, and even Van Wezel is working on a closed caption system for when you are watching plays and performances. So an important part of the ADA is ensuring access to programs, services, activities, and special events is equal for all. Since I have started, I have received no complaints about our special events, and a continual focus of ours is to keep an eye and ear out for concerns. I would like to give special events a shout out because I genuinely have received no accessibility related complaints about any of the events they put on since I began, and I think that is commendable and shows that our staff is dedicated to ensuring accessibility for all members of the public. All right. So other power-driven and shared mobility devices. When DAC had performed their review, they had found we didn't have any special rules in place for these devices. So effectively, it would have been possible for somebody to claim that a gas-powered golf cart was their mobility aid. Since we had this brought to our attention, I have created a standard operating procedure within the Human Resources Department regarding other power-driven and shared mobility devices. This allows all mobility aids for people with disabilities, but disallows items like gas-powered golf carts and similar devices that could be hazardous in an enclosed space. And while this information does apply only to devices used within city facilities, I think this is a great time to also mention our Eco Rover program. I'm not sure if you all are aware of the Eco Rover, but at Lido Beach, we do have a special motorized wheelchair that I like to call a little tank because it has treads. And it enables people with disabilities to actually get out on the beach and move up and down the sand, and it's really wonderful. It's available Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And if you would like more information, please visit sarasotafl.gov/ecorover. I'd be more than happy to work with you on it, and if you want reservations, reach out to me and we'll work it out. So eligibility criteria and fees and surcharges. So disability access consultants found no evidence of discriminatory practices regarding eligibility criteria for access to programs and services. And disability access consultants did not find any fees that unfairly targeted people with disabilities. So for both of these areas, we are compliant, but we will continue to be vigilant and ensure that nothing in the future changes that. DAC also reviewed policies for the use of city facilities and lease and joint use agreements. City facilities that are leased should be accessible for people with disabilities. If a city facility is leased, it is expected to remain ADA compliant and accessible. For example, rooms in Robert L. Taylor that may be rented for parties must be and are ADA compliant. The facility must also have a non-discrimination clause in the rental policy, which we do have. As for lease and joint use agreements, these apply to facilities the city leases from others. Currently, I'm unaware of any leases from others. These are simply guidelines that are recommended should we begin leasing. Contracted services. There's not too much to say here. Our contracts were found to not include any discriminatory material, and DAC's only recommendation is to ensure that people first language is used. I've actually gone a step further here and worked with the purchasing division to include ADA 504 compliance language to bid terms and conditions as well, to ensure that our contracted services continue to remain accessible. Building and construction. Disability Access Consultants has advised that all contracts should directly state that all work will be performed within all applicable state and federal accessibility standards and regulations. So one thing that we know about the City of Sarasota facilities is that many of them were built prior to March of 2012 and are under the Safe Harbor provision. This means that these facilities only need to comply with the 1990 ADA standards and were not required to move up to the 2010 ADA standards. So part of the reason we're doing this whole transition plan is we want to review what is not up to these 2010 ADA standards. So when we make renovations and we make projects that do trigger upgrades to the more modern ADA trends, that we are aware of what needs to be done. So we have a ton of information that will be used in future renovations. And on top of that, this information has already been used to accomplish a few things. For example, our facilities division has already completed 51 barrier removals, including adjusting every door pressure in City Hall, including upgrading signage. Parking has removed 64 barriers by repairing and replacing signage on ADA parking spaces and redoing striping on ADA spaces where possible. And our utilities division has completed 52 barrier removals related to door pressure and signage. Parks and Recreation has completed 36 barrier removals and has demonstrated a commitment to accessible and universal design, as can be seen with the new Bayfront Park. So as time continues, we will see more and more barriers removed. It is a slow process, but the city is committed and we will keep working at it. All right, and web accessibility. So web accessibility is actually pretty exciting. Starting this year, we have begun working on having a new City of Sarasota website developed. You may have noticed the survey on our website asking for feedback recently. So we are striving to ensure that web compliance is fully achieved during this process. And actually during this process, the Department of Justice has released new web content accessibility guidelines that are more strict than what the DAC had reviewed. So these are fully taken into account and have been mentioned in our meetings about the topic. And we are attempting to be fully compliant with what are known as the Web Content Accessibility Guide Standards 2.1 Level AA. That said, we are already largely compliant. We have over 80% of WCAG 2.0 Level AA on our current website. So we're gonna keep moving upward and keep doing good. Planning, budgeting, implementation, and strategies for ongoing compliance. A city that is budgeted for ADA 504 barrier removal and to improve access to programs, services, and activities shows intent to implement the barrier removal transition plan and to enhance access to programs, services, activities, and facilities by people with disabilities. Each department with transition plan obligations has been meeting regularly since I began in 2023 in this process, and much work has been completed. Almost all items have a projected date of completion, and as mentioned, over 200 individual items have already been remediated. So we're chipping away and we're doing a good job. In conclusion, according to Disability Access Consultants, the City of Sarasota has demonstrated an ongoing commitment to provide equal access for people with disabilities in its programs, services, and activities to maintain and enhance compliance with the requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The city continues to embrace a concept of full and equal access for all people it serves. The findings from the updated City of Sarasota ADA/504 self-evaluation and transition plan memorialize the city's compliance efforts. Also, the mission of the City of Sarasota is to provide high-quality service to our residents, businesses, and visitors while safeguarding our natural resources and building a prosperous community. By providing an accessible environment to all citizens and tourists, we ensure that we are providing the high quality services our citizens have become familiar with. Future barrier removal will only improve our quality of service as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have questions?
I have one.
All right, hang on. Let me get her a microphone.
Thank you, Jake. That was all great information. I do have a question as it relates to neighborhoods. I think about the neighborhood I live in, Gillespie Park. We have a lot of non-ADA compliant curbs to step off of to cross the street. So at what point is the city going to be looking out into our neighborhoods to make our sidewalks ADA compliant?
So there's a good chance that your sidewalk may have already been reviewed by DAC. So if there's particular strips of sidewalk or area that you're looking to have an update on, if you would want to email me directly, I can go through the transition plan with you and I can see what our projected dates look like for that area.
So all the neighborhoods can do that?
Yeah, you can reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help. I will note that these are projected dates. They are not set in stone. They're based on funding availability and could change. So I'll provide you with what I have for now, and if anything changes, we'll touch base at that time.
All right. Any other question? Okay, Jake, way to the back, yeah.
Some of our ADA areas are underwater due to old curbs and sidewalks that need to be repaired. Can something be coordinated with Public Works to ensure that we can improve that situation for the ADA?
Correct. Okay, the question was about ADA. Were we talking about corners?
Yes.
Yeah, corners that are underwater.
All the time.
All the time. Some of them, yes. Can we do anything to fix this?
Yeah. So are you talking about like the curb cut ramps?
Yes.
Okay. So for now, if you can click to fix whenever that happens, and if we're not seeing any success with that, please email me, and in my monthly meetings with Public Works, I'll bring up these items and we can address it at that time.
Marissa.
Yeah, hi. I'm just wondering, I know in the MLK overlay district, there's funding to update houses, grant money to update houses for ADA compliance. What about for the rest of the cities? Are there any grants or any programs you know of that will help residents with that?
I will look into that.
Quick. So the question was, is there money to update older houses? For
MLK has an overlay district. They do have grant funding, but the rest of the city, I don't know if they do.
Asking about grant funding for upgrading houses
For ADA
compliance.
36-inch wide doorways, that sort of thing.
Right. So I will have to look into that. I know that private homes are not necessarily covered by the ADA, but there may be some grants available that could be reached out to. This will be something I have to look into.
Thank you. Okay.
What about the associations? Are they covered under ADA if we were to apply for grant?
So your associations may have common areas be covered under fair housing, but I would have to look into more on a case-by-case basis what exactly areas you're looking at. I know for condos, like the pools and areas of that nature are under fair housing. So that may be the same situation for condo association shared spaces, or for neighborhood association, sorry.
Same thing. Thank you. Any other question? All right. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
I'll take the magic wand. Okay, we've had a lot of information thrown at us this morning, which was pretty much unavoidable with dealing with a storm. Yeah. Oh, thank you. We had another dignitary come in, Commissioner Trice. Thank you. Approval. Let's first, it's not on the agenda, and it should be, and I need to say something first about use of our time. I'm going to make it brief, we need to say more later. The board has recommended that I address how we use our time in our meetings. We have specifically new business and neighborhood reports. And I want to suggest a way to use them more efficiently. The neighborhood report is about news of the neighborhood. And please, if you have an issue in your neighborhood, use click to fix first, or make a call, even to somebody on the board, before you bring it here to the neighborhood report. And of course, there's always the issue of speeding, which is not click to fix, and so be judicious in the time that you talk about during a neighborhood report. It's about time for you to make announcements, what's happening, where we used our grant money, and so on and so forth. Thank you. Now, if you have an issue that is not limited to your neighborhood, that affects the whole city or several neighborhoods, that item should be raised in new business, because we need to discuss it collectively. A perfect example, last month Eileen Normile came to us, Jim, and said, I have a problem. We talked about it, we put it in, we slotted it in new business so we had a chance to discuss it among ourselves. If you're quick enough with it, soon enough, we can even get backup material printed for you. So, and like I say, we're short on time, so I am not going to elaborate any more on this, but we will be talking about it in the future. And having said that, I need to ask, is there any new business that we need to add to the agenda or changes? Okay. And having said that then, we need to approve the minutes from September. Is there a motion to approve? Lito Shores approved. Motions to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Valerie from SHA, Sarasota Housing Authority. Has seconded. Any comments? Any changes? Okay, by unanimous consent then, we have approved the minutes from September. Thank you. I've done my spiel. I have nothing to report. Do we have anything from the first vice president?
I have a bunch of things. Some of them are committee reports. You want me just to get through my list and then continue?
Do it as fast as you
All right,
can.
all right. Meaningful input. Basically, where we are with this is we're working with staff and the commissioners, trying to identify a way that we can quantify compatibility in the development, so that we have some black and white things in front of us that says, yes, this is probably compatible, and no, this is not. We're trying to get those guidelines going. It's a work in progress. We will have to have commissioners on board. They will actually have to sponsor this, and so we're working at that right now. We're still waiting on the DRC project that Lucia brought to us, I think back in either April or May. I know that they're working on it internally, but it's not ready to come to some of the public that was involved or et cetera at this point. The website, real quick, is a similar thing. They have finished their public input, and I think are evaluating that right now, and we're waiting for that next step, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think I got an email this week, but I got so many emails this week, I'm not sure I had a chance to read it. The awards committee. We all have, Charlie passed out this awards committee. This is the neighborhood award that we give to a deserving person in December. This is your nomination form. Please, if you have somebody that you believe should be awarded our neighborhood award for 2024, please complete the application and send it to Charlie. Charlie is going to accumulate these as part of the committee that will be working on this. Second one, a nominating committee. Let me get that one out of the way too. We have 5 of our board up for election in December. Our president, our second vice president, our treasurer, our District 2 director, and our secretary will all be up for election this December. So there's something that came to everybody. We got an email out. There's a nominating form. If you want to run or you know somebody who would like to be a candidate for a position, please fill that out and get it back to somebody on the committee by October 15th. We're talking a very short window here. That's it.
That's it. All right, thank you. We're obviously jumping around a little bit. So we have no second vice president. Our secretary is away, and we need a treasurer's report, please.
Good morning, everyone. We've had several transactions this month. At the beginning balance on 8/29 was $6,058.21. And as I said, we had several transactions, and our balance as of today is $5,939.95.
That's it? All right, brother. Thank you kindly. Moving on to district representative reports. They have a. Go ahead.
Morning, everybody. Normally we each say something about what's happening in our districts. We wanted to do something different this time. There's a lot of new faces in the room that are delegates to CCNA, and I want to take a second to let's all look at each other. We are all here as volunteers. We don't get paid to do this. We don't get paid to give up our time. So thank you. And now you should know that no good deed goes unpunished. First of all, the City Coalition of Neighborhood Associations' purpose is to protect and enhance city neighborhoods. The coalition shall address the needs of neighborhoods and stand in support of these needs. CCNA's strength lies in the collective efforts of our neighborhood leaders who focus on issues that preserve and enhance our city's neighborhoods. That's you. Delegates, all of us, are most effective when we are in touch with our neighborhood's board of directors, resident members, and others living, working in, or owning property in your neighborhoods, as well as your CCNA district representative.
So as a representative or delegate here, you guys have responsibilities, and I got elected to tell you what they are. So here are your responsibilities. 1, attend these meetings. Obviously you're all here, you're attending your meetings, but there's another step to that. Bring back what you've learned and heard and experienced in these meetings and bring it back to your neighborhoods, your boards, and your community. Share the information. So if you get an email from CCNA, hit the forward button and send it to your neighborhood distribution list. We depend on you to get the word out to your community. Seek neighborhood support and opinions on CCNA matters. So we ask you to vote occasionally on issues, and we are assuming that you're communicating with your boards and your neighborhoods and voting on behalf of everyone and not just yourself. Facilitate getting your membership dues paid, and on this point, Carl, I got a question from Alta Vista, wondering on the status of their dues. So I don't know if you can look that up while we're sitting here. Alta Vista. Okay, then you're all good. Question answered.
Everybody's got the time.
everybody's at the time.
Lastly, you are required to keep your information updated. We have a little form, it's only one page. We ask you to fill it out once a year and give us the name of your delegate, your alternate delegate, and their contact information. So please try and keep that up to date. Is there anyone here from Harbor Acres? Can I talk to you afterwards? Thank you. Is there anyone here from Rosemary? Can I see you after also? Okay, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Flo Entler, District 3 Director. There are 2 motions and the neighborhood award to be voted on at our November meeting, as well as the 2025 slate of officers to be voted on at our December meeting. Please make sure you provide the information to your board so you're ready to cast your vote for the neighborhood at the next 2 meetings. Again, there are 2 motions and the slate. All the information's on the website, and you should have received emails as well, I think yesterday. Please make sure you provide the information to your board so you're ready to cast your vote. If you have any questions, reach out to your district reps. Kelly Brown, District 1, Melinda DePeche, District 2, Flo Entler, District 3. Our email addresses are located on the website, ccnasarasota.org/about/contact us. Thank you very much for your time, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Okay, I think we have one more committee, and he's raring to go.
Okay, last CCNA meeting, I took a pass on giving everyone an update because we were time constrained. Today we're time constrained, so I'm just going to give just a quick summary. Our committee has been working with Public Works to make changes to the traffic calming system, which presently rejects 70% of the neighborhood's request. After reviewing many cities for best practices, we have provided Public Works with our recommendations that are based on St. John's Neighborhood Traffic Calming Manual. The 2 key changes were to change the warrant system approach from an accept reject criteria to one of prioritizations. And what that means in a nutshell is, the only thing the warrant does, if you pass it, the city will look at your situation. If you don't pass it, they won't even come to you. The second one is an improved method of ballot tabulation. And all that means is, there's a requirement that everybody on the street, before they get the traffic calming, you have to get a high percentage of accepts. One of the criteria is 80% of the neighborhoods have to respond. It's almost impossible to get 80%. And everything dies right there. It's overly critical. It's going to be changed. We meet with the city a week from Friday. They're going to give us our proposals, and at that time, everyone will get an update of where we stand. All right, wait a minute. Sorry about
Pass it down. Thank you, Lou. Okay, we've done reports and committees. We're now moving on to old business, and if you would please grab the piece of paper that looks it's 2-sided, motion 1 and motion 2. So these are motions that Eileen brought. By the way, Eileen had eye surgery recently, and I was really hoping she would come with an eye patch, but she can't make it. So I'm in her stead. Please read. The procedure is going to be, this needs to go to your neighborhood association. Next month, we're going to vote to approve these 2 motions. But it needs to get to your association first so that you guys can vote. And you all have an opportunity. The first motion is reportage of the Sarasota Bay water quality. Request that city management designate a staff member to receive any report from the Sarasota Bay Estuary Program, Sun Coast Waterkeepers Department of Health, and other similar experts that relate to public safety testing results in the Sarasota Bay, and to disseminate any concerning information without delay to the residents of the city. And the backup material is right there. Yeah, we had a lot of bacteria, and there is, I don't think it's on the website yet, but Dr. David Tomasco, thank you, has an in-depth analysis of the water quality right after Debbie and we can get that on our website on request, or send it to you. I have it in my laptop. Just email me, president@sarasotafccna.org. I will forward it to you. He writes well, and it's understandable. And of course, he has pretty charts. Okay, the second motion that we will be acting on next month is concurrency of water and sewage. The motion is request that the city update the concurrency calculations regarding water and sewage availability that must be met for any development request to be approved. The new calculation should reflect the accelerated need for updating the city's infrastructure and its apparent potential inability to handle increased pollution. That too. Pollution, population, and weather changes in the background. So remember, take this to your neighborhood association, get their decision to bring here, and it will be under old business next month. Those two. Okay, moving on. I'm going to ask again. Oh, no, I'm not going to ask if there's any old business. I don't think there's any more old business. New business. So grab the other one that talks about strategic initiative to rezone City of Sarasota parks. The board has unanimously taken up the idea that we need to get more protection for our parks because we've had let me call it a slew of people trying to take over parks for what appears to be a private enterprise. Take this also to your neighborhoods to talk about. We are going to be very careful about this because it's been mentioned several times that if we get too strict about it, we won't allow things like Captain Sherman, who has the Hart's Landing concession, or the breeze in the bay. We need to be able to allow those sorts of things that enhance the use of the park while protecting it. So take a look at this, bring this back to next week with comments, or again, email me, president@sarasota.ccna.org, or Jim, or just in general. Tell us what you're thinking about this, but this is our direction, how we feel about this. And okay, yes, Jerry.
Kevin. It's okay.
Yeah, Jerry's. I'm sorry, you two guys, and you sit across from each other directly. Kevin, please.
How do we find out how the park in our neighborhood is zone G or not? If this only references parks and neighborhood zone G, how can I find out?
This. We'll go through there's an app at the bottom of the city website. There's one of those little circles that says GIS stuff. and there's one there that will take you right to zoning. What was it, Rob?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I can show.
yeah. They will take you right to it. You know, this is a process. This is not going to happen fast. You know, because it has to go through writing of the new codes and maybe, and the lawyers have to look at it, so on and so forth. Okay. Any other questions about this? All right. Yes, sir. Yeah. This needs to go back to your neighborhood for discussion. Because if you agree with the initiative, we can approve it next month. If you agree with the initiative, we're not going to have the language or anything, but it's an initiative. So be prepared to vote on this. We got 3 things to vote on next month. No. It's December. Okay. I'm done with any other new business. I'm asking right now. Any other new business? All right. Let's move on to neighborhood reports then. So remember, if you want it in the minutes, send it to me. Again, president@SarasotaCCNA.org, or no, not this time. No, just send it to me this time. I'll get it.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. I didn't mean nominating. I meant award, neighborhood award. That is a November 1st deadline.
We need
On the form.
Yeah, we need the form in by November 1st for the award.
Yes.
We need if you want to be considered by the nomination committee, we need your application in by October 15th. Both of those will be executed in December at our annual meeting.
Keep going. All right. Neighborhood report. We're going to go this way this time. So remember, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. How are we on time?
I've got a sentence.
5 years. Yeah. Go.
Jody Geiger with Bayou Oaks. Don't have a lot to report. Our neighborhood didn't do too bad during the storm. We have a general meeting this Tuesday. Then we have invited the candidates for District 1 and District 2 for conversation.
Marissa Dawson, Central Coconut. First of all, I'd like to thank all the city staff for their reports, especially Pat. Thank you so much. That was very informative, and you guys are really working hard during a very challenging time. Our neighborhood meeting will be this October 17th. That we have, we put signs out. We actually had used up the last of our grant money to get additional signage for our meetings, as well as t-shirts. We're going to be having our annual picnic at Pioneer Park on November 16th. All are invited, and so we've got these bright new t-shirts. You can see who the volunteers are. So thank you to the city grant funding for that. The rain date for that is November 11th in case it does rain on the 16th. I would just like to say that for storms, I highly recommend utilizing the city's parking garages. We do not have a garage, and many of the older homes in our city don't either. So we typically go into the parking garages on the 2nd or 3rd story. It protects our cars from debris and flooding, and that might, what?
Yeah, okay.
And then last but not least, I would just say thank you again to the city regarding the contractors. We have a lot of older properties with a lot of trees and branches, so having that extra claw contractors coming out is a big help.
Mary Butler, Amaryllis Park Neighborhood Association. First of all, I just want to thank the city, for coming out during the storm. We didn't have a whole bunch. What we do receive some flooding here and there, but it wasn't nearly as bad, as others. And our prayers are actually going out for those on the island. We watch the news, and it's just devastating and heartbreaking to see others have to go through this. Our next meeting is October the 15th at Robert L. Taylor at 6 p.m. And we're getting ready for our trunk or treat, which is at the end of the month, October. But we also have Big Mama Collard Green Fest. Miss Valerie is here, and I'm sure she will tell us all more about Big Mama Collard Green Fest. And we're looking forward to eating some of the collard greens. Thank you.
Valerie Bushon, resident council president. In your announcement, you talked about new business and old business, but anyway, I didn't fully understand. However, in our community, we continue to have issues, and it saddens me to say that the city has appointed whomever Mr. Russell want them to appoint to represent residents at that board. But we found out that the last resident or the last person had resigned, and so here we are again. They're appointing people that don't even represent residents. So we keep fighting the battle. We've been waiting for years to get an MOU. The new developments that are being built, they're not being built for our citizens because they are letting very few low-income people to move into those places. They're gearing more towards 60% of the AMI and up, wherein low-income people that need housing, the people are telling them that they don't make enough money. So who are they building for? And is the city really part of that, trying to get rid of us out of our community? That's what I see, and that's what I understand, because they have done a bad job in helping us.
Just real quick, Valerie, and for everyone in the room, the Public Housing Authority is not part of the city of Sarasota. It's not part of the county of Sarasota. It's an independent federal agency that actually handles that. So just to be clear, we have an ad hoc member on that board. We are not part of the Public Housing Authority. So we're happy to help, but I'll give you the email that you can send any complaints to. It's not us, okay?
Hi, Kevin Spence, Indian Beach, Sapphire Shores. We'd like to thank the city for their ongoing efforts to remove debris and things from our neighborhood. It's been going very well. We saw the trucks out there doing the evacuation of the stormwater sewage, and it's going well. We thank them for that. Other than that, we'd like to invite everybody to our annual picnic, which is on Sunday, November 3rd at Sapphire Shores Park at Sun Circle. It's always a blast, a beautiful sight. Come on down. That's Sunday, November 3rd, 10 o'clock. 1 o'clock. We're setting up at 10, sorry.
Hello, Rob Grant, Arlington Park. Pat, thanks for letting Nick know they got that power line fixed that was over the sidewalk yesterday, so that was great. Arlington Park fared pretty well during the storm, just some down lines. That was pretty much it, so we feel for you guys very much, Barrier Islands. Let's see, we've got in our neighborhood two issues, or not issues, but two things coming up. One, this week on, I can't find it, I'm sorry. Thursday, there will be a workshop, I lost it, about the School Avenue Greenway MRT. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar, but there's a MRT that in the county that goes along School Avenue would be, and it runs up to Weber where the city boundary is. And the city is looking to extend it. It's basically a drainage culvert, and they're exploring the idea of making it into a multi-use recreational trail. And then for those of you that don't know, Porch Fest is back. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. Yep. the Arlington Park Neighborhood Association is not officially a part of it, but we do support it in our neighborhood. So Porch Fest will be in Arlington Park on Sunday, November 10th. And for any of you that aren't familiar with it, there's a website. It is arlingtonparkporchfest.com. This is being sponsored now by the Fabulous Arts Foundation. They're putting it on. And basically what it is, if you're not familiar, is they close a couple streets in the neighborhood. It's from like Hyde Park to Arlington, I think, and a couple of blocks. And then a house will sponsor a band, and they have bands come out. And so it's on a Sunday afternoon. They've got about 16 bands lined up right now. It goes on all afternoon. They haven't done it for a couple of years. Since COVID, it happened for a number of years before that. Very popular, gets very busy. So we invite you guys to all come out November 10th for Porch Fest. Thank you.
Renee Golovna, alternate for Glen Oaks Estates. We are working with our neighboring community, the Glen, to have the drainage canal on the Gillespie course cleaned out. Although scheduled for hand clearing yearly in December, it is extremely overgrown with vegetation and trees. So we are meeting on site with the supervisor from the county on Monday. We are thankful to the city staff for installing a crosswalk on Circus Boulevard from our neighborhood to the entrance to Bobby Jones Golf Club and Nature Park. And the new concrete diverter that was included, we identified as a trip hazard, and so the city came up with a solution of painting it with highway yellow paint to make it more visible. We are grateful. This coming week, we are holding a special meeting to plan for our annual meeting in November.
Helen Hamber from Laurel Park. We did pretty well during the storm as well. There was, for the first time that many residents are aware, some flooding, but no damage. It just backed up from the bayou, and we were very lucky. But that relates to the main thing I wanted to report on, which is a new committee that we formed to work more closely with the city and the county on the Hudson Bayou cleanup project that has been discussed for a while but hasn't yet been started. And the primary thing we want the city and county to understand is that there's been some public dumping going on in the bayou, and we want to make sure that that stops and that the cleanup is facilitated so that we again have better access for boats and kayaks and all that want to get out onto the bay. We're also having our semi-annual meeting on Monday, November 11th, that everyone is invited to, and Tunes in the Park will be held sometime in November, but the date hasn't been set yet. Thanks.
Good morning, Elizabeth Rose. I'm the alternate for Bay Point Park. We did have 6 homes in our neighborhood that got flooded. One suggestion for the city website is to put a big splash page of the storm-related things. Like I remembered from Ian, and I know this is new business, sorry. Ian, I remember don't put piles near power lines and mailboxes and electric utilities. And that messaging did come out eventually, but by the time it came out, a lot of people had already piled their things near the mailbox, the power lines, the electric utilities. So if there's anything that's going to be consistent, no matter what storm, if we could just have one place for people to look ahead of time, that would be great. Thank you, Mr. Robinson, for all your work, and the city staff.
Lynn Elkis, Gillespie Park. We had our
Lynn, can I just, I stole it. I'm cutting you off again. You had one question, that's it. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to let you know, there is a Hurricane Fact website that's up pretty much year round, and we do update it every year, so I'll get that out. My recommendation relative to information is social media all day long, Instagram and Facebook, but I will get that website out to the guys so they can put it up on the CCNA website, but it is there.
No, I agree, but like one of the messages had 3 piles, then the next message said 4 piles. Like if there's anything that's consistent, if we just have it.
So what you're saying is 5 piles on the next one.
Let's move on. All right.
piles of debris. We're all being educated every time we meet. I'm Lynn Elkis from Gillespie Park, And I have to put my glasses on to read my list. We had our monthly meeting this past Thursday, and we did a Meet the Candidates forum with Kyle Battay and Sequoia Felton, which was very educational and informative for our membership. Also, our door hanger, I know I mentioned it last time, but this is what our door hanger looks like, and it's got all the wonderful phone numbers we need to contact the city in case of an emergency, and there are a few other things on here that are very important neighborhood-wise. So actually, it's a great piece to have. If you haven't done one yet, it's wonderful to give to your new neighbors, and it's good for all of us, whether you want to keep it on your fridge or a door. And also, thank you to the city for a very prompt park cleanup. They came out and picked up all the debris that needed to be done to keep everybody safe in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Martha Horton, alternate for Hudson Bayou. We're working on a historic marker for our neighborhood. Otherwise, our neighborhood came through pretty well. So we don't have a big report. You're talking.
Dean Anderson, Avondale. Hope everybody did okay with Helene. It's tough. We had our first meeting of the season October 1st, and we scheduled our candidates forum just for our district reps, which would be Liz Albert and Ron Cashton. That'll be on October 17th, 5:30 to 6:30 at Palmetto Park. We're also doing our preparations for our 100th celebration at our upcoming annual fall picnic on November 10th, 4 to 6 p.m. So after the Arlington Park Porch Fest, you can come on over to our picnic, okay? Avondale suffered some flooding from the storm surge on our northern border with the Hudson Bayou. Few homes had first floor flooding with loss of rugs and furniture, etc. The water had problems draining due to the water drain, the county water drain at Alta Vista and Lincoln Drive. So we'd like those cleared out on a regular basis before storms. I think if the city could, the county could identify more of those problem drains around, target those before major storm events, and then get all the regular ones the best they can, would be very helpful. So we, of course, did not have the problems that my son, his family, and the residents have had to endure in Asheville, North Carolina during this last storm. So our hearts go out to all of those guys, and it makes me think of climate change as a larger event. And if, we all realize one of the major political candidates here thinks climate change is a hoax.
Wait, hey,
No.
that's not appropriate here.
I'm the newbie, John Deere, Bird Key. I don't have a report, but did want to acknowledge and thank those responsible for reopening the bridge Friday morning so that the residents could get back to their homes, those who had evacuated. Also, the visible police presence on the island around that time. We appreciated that with the 8 additional officers. I don't see Matt here anymore, but thank you. And I'll pass it on to Golden Gate.
Hi, I'm Beth Nostein, Golden Gate Point. Something not related to the storm. Right in the beginning of September, we started noticing the entry trees to Golden Gate Point. There's beautiful, big, huge palm trees as you enter, and they all developed a disease, a virus called lethal bronzing, and we lost all of our trees. We had to take them all out. That's the only thing you can do. They die, and you want to get them out so it doesn't spread to the rest of the community. So anyone who's near us, just know it's in the air, it's transmitted via insects, and you could be next. So that's what happened in the beginning, and then 2 weeks later we had, Helene visit us. Every single condo, 28 condos on Golden Gate Point were flooded. And what's a little bit different about a condo flooding is all of the elevators, the cavities took on water. And so we had between 6 inches to 2 feet as you go around all of Golden Gate Point. What that does is it makes some people just can't do stairs. You have elderly people on different floors and they're just not equipped to do that. So it did create a challenge for our community in that way. Everyone's pumping out their shafts. Otis is, buy stock in Otis Elevator because, oh man, they are hard to get a hold of. We're all lined up to get all that fixed, hoping this next event won't do the similar damage. We've never had this kind of flooding on Golden Gate Point. We're at 10 feet elevation. I queried 3 different condos just to say, you've been here 20 years. What is your elevation? 14.9 feet, 14.2, 14.1. These are not old condos, not new. They all flooded. Everyone flooded, no matter what elevation your condo was, you flooded. I don't know how we're gonna react to the news anymore when the weather says what a surge is gonna be. I don't know what we'll tell our residents to do. Thank you.
Hi everyone, Andres from Park East. We sent out our mailers to our residents and had the first meeting as a result of the mailers. We wanted to see kind of like how many people would show up. We were trying to reach a little more of our Hispanic community that lives in Park East. And unfortunately not much of a result from that, but we're gonna keep trying. We had a good turnout, it just wasn't, like the Hispanic community didn't really get to show up. But we're gonna keep trying, to reach out using English and Spanish. And yeah, that was in September. One of our signs that we got a grant for did get destroyed. Not sure if it was related to the storm because we can't really tell. It almost seemed like it was something else, but so we only have 1 out of 2 now. We're gonna try to get another. And we're hard at work trying to put together the picnic that we're gonna have in February to also bring together our community. So you guys are more than welcome to come ask me if you wanna join us. Be happy to have you. Thank you.
Good morning, Charlie Neilsmith, Broadway Promenade.
Charlie, just a second. Sure. We're gonna be a little bit over. I hope that's okay, but we're almost there, so just hang with us. Thank you, Charlie.
Sure thing. I'll talk slow. I'd like to applaud the board for their tweaking of the agenda to bring up new business and neighborhood reports, and I think that will be an improvement. I think no one is happier about us using Click the Fix as first item than Pat, who looks very relaxed at the head of the table. You know.
I'm here for you guys.
Okay. And so now all we need is a directory, a member directory, so that we can talk to each other, you know, without having to always come to the meeting and go to the board. Other than that, the only thing I really want to add is a big shout out to the city and to the county for, you know, their help during the storm, but not so much the people that are in this room today, but all the people that are out there working and actually doing it day to day. So thank you to them.
Rhonda Manassi, alternate Plymouth Harbor. We had a lot of damage, but we did all evacuate on the Wednesday before the storm, which is a major undertaking because of all the different handicap units that we have, but we did it. We had lots of damage on the lowest floors and the outside areas. We had the flooded elevator shaft, destroyed cars, fitness equipment and rooms, art studio, wood shop, etc., etc. Storage lockers, by the way, all kinds of equipment, and the laundry, all gone and have to be rebuilt and restocked. We're working on that and hope that next week will be peaceful. Fingers crossed. The CEO of Plymouth Harbor has started a process of requesting approval of a rezoning change. There has been one public meeting. Nothing will be further done or completed until next year. Thank you.
Hello, Leslie Steinbler from Alta Vista. Is it working for me today? Yeah, good, okay. I wanted to thank the Vice Mayor we had our meeting last week, and she came to give us updates after having electricity for 12 hours and being in a flooded house. So I wanted to thank her. Also, Cheryl Coley came out and gave us an extremely interesting tutorial on the GIS system for the appraisals, which I would highly recommend. It was just really interesting. And then the board asked me to bring up our traffic safety and calming issue on Tammy Sola. And we wanted to know if there is any updates on what could be done there, and to make sure that that request was still being considered as well.
Can you see me after the meeting?
Sure can, thank you. And that's all that I have, thank you.
Melissa Laughlin, Rosemary District. We're having a great week in the Rosemary District this week. Tonight is the Fogartyville anniversary party. Yeah, everyone's invited. It's free. There's a DJ, there's live music, there's activities. So please come out to Fogartyville tonight. I will be there. Also on Tuesday, October 15th, we're working to get the vote out and have people vote for city commissioner. So on the 15th, the Rosemary District will be inviting District 1 and District 2. Please come join us on that. And finally, the best news of all, long awaited, but we have a new park in the Rosemary District. And many people in this room who are responsible for making it happen. So a few thank yous. If you can just stand up, Mayor Alpert, Commissioner Trice, Marlon, Pat, David Lowe, sitting next to me as part of the grassroots effort that made this happen. And I just want to read something from our neighbors in Amaryllis Park shared this Facebook post from Newtown Alive. It says, "It's Overtown Square. What name is more appropriate? To the neighborhood voters who understand the significance of the Black community history and everyone who made this pocket park happen, we say thank you for the respect." And we say, as Rosemary District, thank you for all the work. Thank you for all the millions of emails and phone calls that it took to happen. I think it was all worth it. We all felt the amazingness of the feeling in the neighborhood. Thank you.
David Lowe with DISCA and Pat on the storm. Thanks for everything that was done. As reported, some of our members, it was not only the elevator shafts, but some of the lower level garages. One building, I think, lost 20 cars. So, we'll get through it, but a lot of damage. The other shout out, Bob Fournier was our guest speaker at a board meeting earlier in the week. He did a phenomenal job. We do record the DISCA board meetings, and that'll be available on our website. Bob covered some of the things he has in the works about revised sound ordinances and things like that. He did a great job. We're sure gonna miss him when he retires early next year. The other thing is, I don't know if you've seen, I came upon this somewhat by accident at the county seat, is they do have some 3D modeling now of the downtown. It's not across the city, but we are seeing 3D modeling, and I'm hoping between the county and the city there's coordination on this, because I know, Marlon, there's money in the budget again this year, and it's work in progress, but take a look at the Bill First website and poke around and you'll come upon it. The final thing is, we may be getting in over our heads, but a committee at DISCA is working on an AI effort where we're loading in thousands of documents and hope to have a publicly available site where people can search with questions they have or information they're looking. So we're about to enter the beta version of this, and it's kind of interesting. So stay tuned. Let's see how this works out, but we're going to give it a go. Thanks.
Good morning, Jerry Fagan from Glen Oaks Ridge, and I have no idea, but
24 feet makes a huge difference in the state. Where I'm from, it's more like, you have to be pretty far up to get out of the flood damage. So, except for our retention pond rose 7 feet in the last incident, and that was pretty scary to most of us who are lakefront places. So anyway, we're all set, we're dry, and we're hoping this continues. And thank you very much.
Good morning, Suzanne Waxman from Tolles Court. I would like to start off by saying our president, Anna, has been working diligently on some grant writing, and if you've ever written a grant, you know how that process is. One thing that we really are keeping an eye on, of course, is the Artist Court residence. That is pending, and groundbreaking is unlikely for 2024. We are keeping an eye on that and seeing how that goes. I'm going to keep it short. Neighborhood meeting is October 16th. And one thing that I would like to caution everybody on is do not let your pets go near the water that is standing water. They will get very, very sick. Leptospirosis is a disease that can kill your dog, so do not let them swim in this. I'm saying this as a certified veterinary technician. Thank you.
My name is Jessie here. I represent Lido Key Residents Association. We live in a building right next to Lido Beach Resort. In between is Cleveland Avenue, and we have a water retention pond there, and it was mountain of sand in that pond. And our board president wrote an email to Pat and Nikesh Patel. They immediately responded, as busy as they were on Sunday, and they took care of that by Monday morning. And they want to thank you, all our residents want to thank you so much for that. And you may notice I have left kind of this notice on your seats. And we would like to invite all of you to our really two amazing meetings, which first one is going to be held on October 19th, and we have Bill Vidal and Kimberly Horn with an update on the Sarasota Performing Arts. And second meeting is going to be held on November 16th, and we are going to have CEO of Marie Selby Botanical Gardens, Jennifer O. Ramaniki, and she will be giving update on the next phase in their master plan. It's going to be really, really informative meeting. We invite you all, and we hope to see you. Thank you.
Good morning, Hugh Fiore from St. Armand's. We're wiped out, both the residential and the... Sorry. Never found a microphone I didn't like. We're rebuilding. We're primarily a social organization, but we're rebuilding, and probably Mark Smith at the county and homesteading will be a big topic, because some of us, like my wife, who gave me an ultimatum, either build a second story on the house or we're going to sell, because she didn't want to do it again. But we're fortunate. I mean, our home was built in '52. Our family's owned it since '77. We've absolutely never had water intrusion before this, and the entire house is now out on the sidewalk. So we go from there. But we thank everyone, and we will get together with Mark, because we have a lot of questions on the extent and retaining their homesteading, extent of remodeling. People want to do second stories, and well, so we need to be best buddies and get that done. Well, it just has to happen. We're in it. It's happened. We can't turn the clock back. We got to go forward, and we're going to do that as best we can. Thank you.
Dennis Bischoff, Lido Shores. Our hearts go out to
our neighbors on the barrier islands. I don't know how, but Lido Shores was spared. I think it's because of the New Pass waterway acts like a flushing system. I don't know what, but we got maybe a dozen homes that had maybe had an inch or two of water, and that's it. We didn't get the storm surges that the others. So whatever we can do as a community in Lido Shores to help our neighbors, we're there for you. And Pat, thanks for the city and everybody else. All right, thank you.
Melinda Delpatch, Tahiti Park. First, kudos to the city. You guys have done a phenomenal job on the storm response. Just a quick question, Pat. Do the dead fish go with the vegetative debris?
You guys should have like a barbecue.
Ew. Okay, now I can't top that. Okay, we're over time, so we're going to forego any other report.
I just went through a couple of things they brought up just to get the answers. Sorry, Richard, but I'll make it worth your while, I promise. 2 minutes. You can start the timer on me. That's right. Okay, so real quick, the Piles website. The reason there was an additional pile is when we first started into this, we were not going to do bulk pickup of vegetative debris, and when we did decide to do that, the original message was to package it regularly like yard stuff. Additional pile, now we're doing bulk with the claws, so that's why we went up. I promise no more piles, no fifth pile, okay? We'll work on that website information, but again, please follow the social media out there. That's what is most up to date. Avondale, I can't tell you, the county has been great. We've asked them to come out and pump those drains out, giving stormwater crews all the credit in the world. They have been phenomenal with our staff to come out and work with us, and we are doing those. The problem is everybody in 4 feet of water tends to have flooding, so we're trying to get out there and prioritize, but we'll stay on it. That was not 2 minutes. Stop it, Richard. You know what? Now you're not getting bulk vegetative pickup. That's it. And in all honesty, Richard was one of the people that reached out very early in this conversation and really advocated for opening that up. So giving him some credit, which I hate to do, but he was very helpful with that. So the Golden Gate Point, yes, we hear you that we've never seen this before with the flooding. Traffic. It would be good if I could read my own writing, but we'll wait for the AI overlords to come and take us all over. So thank you for that in advance, David. That's fantastic. And the answer reference to the contractor bags, contractors will not take commingled dark contractor bags within the storm debris. So if you have stuff in bags, put it with your normal trash. Our crews will pick it up. The contractors will not pick it up with the claw truck. So if you have stuff in black bags, put it with your regular trash, okay? Not with the vegetative debris. Well, they'll leave it there. Our crews will come and hand pick those out, but it just makes things go faster. So don't commingle black contractor bags or plastic bags with debris. And that's all right. We'll find you later. Don't worry. No, I'm just kidding. But if you can't do that, we'll come around and yeah, please do. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I just had this thought as we're going around. Is it possible that the community could support the open restaurants using DoorDash or something? So just they're coming back and forth and we're getting food.
I think the only, I've gotten 2 complaints that DoorDash couldn't get out the day after the storm and somebody's Amazon packages didn't get delivered, but I don't know if that's, yes sir. So we'll talk later. I'm not sure that we're in the right time right now, but let's chat after. Good idea. Sorry, Richard.
All right. Yeah, okay. Question. When Doug and Kelly were here, Kevin asked a question about the 1.7 million. Will you put that on your list of things? All right. And again, since we're over time, we've had plenty of city and input. Please, chair to the wall in stacks of 5 between the windows. Tables go over in that room. Can I have a couple people be here at 8:30 at the next meeting to help put tables up? Please. It's getting tough, and we could use the help. So please be here. Okay, next meeting is Jonathan Lewis, County Manager, and it's November the 2nd, right here, 9 a.m. And Carl, what were you going to tell me to do? Turn your phone back on. We are adjourned.